Okay, so here we have the Heathkit VTVM, the model of V7A. If you want, you can see it's pretty dirty. It needs a good cleaning. The cables, yeah, you can see it's pretty grungy. I believe it's been kicking around in a basement or a garage for God knows how many years. I found inside it, yes, I have had it open. Just to take a look, I found this battery inside, and it says, it's got a price on the side, it says 25 cents each. So figure whenever already C batteries were 25 cents. You can kind of date how long it's been since this thing's been opened. I do have the manual for it. The gentleman who built it saved all of his paperwork. I got this from the same person I got the Heathkit AM radio that I rebuilt. Okay, so I'll take it out of the case. There's 2 screws on the back. I've already taken them out. Give it a little push. Slides right on out. Get that out of the way. Okay. So first things first, I'm going to have to change this electrolytic. No, I haven't tested it. It may or may not be bad, but it's old. I'm just going to replace it. This is a selenium rectifier. That's going to be replaced with a nice little silicone. And yeah, this is an overkill. It's a 5408 overkill, but I have them, so that's what I'm going to use. You can also see, I'm going to zoom in down here. Let's see if I can zoom you in a little bit. Okay, swing over. There's a capacitor here I'm going to have to replace. I couldn't understand why they had it, and then I realized it's a 0.01 1600 volt capacitor. Well, if you look on the face, it's in line with everything. So if you look on the face of this, there's a 1500 volt range. I'm figuring that's why they use that 1600 volt capacitor in there. So that's going to have to be changed as well. Not going to be easy to get at, but I'll get in there. Also, you can see how dirty the contacts are. They'll all be cleaned, and I'll clean the adjustments as well. Make sure they're all, let me see them. Yeah, in here are the calibration adjustments. There's 3 of them. And then what I'm going to do, oh yeah, before I forget, there's a number 50 bulb in here. Yeah, I can't see it. Okay. In here is a number 50 bulb. The only way to change that bulb is to loosen this up, pull the board up to change the bulb. Well, it's not a problem. I don't have a number 50 bulb anyway, so I'm going to have to get one. I'm also going to, let's see if I can get this in frame here. This spring in this cup is where the 1.5 volt C battery went for the ohms range, okay? I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to build a circuit. I'm going to attach the board over here, terminal strip. I'm going to build a circuit and build it into here so I don't have to put batteries in this VTVM. Is this the only VTVM I have? No, I've got an ICO VTVM that I built back when I was in trade school. Oh my God. 1971, 71. So, and I don't use it that often. Again, this was given to me. I'm going to get this restored, get it back in use. Now, I thought about this capacitor down in here. I don't keep 1600 volt capacitors. I looked to see if I had two 0.02 1000 volt capacitors, which I don't have. If I did, I'd just put them in series. You put capacitors in series, you double the voltage, and you cut the capacitance in half. So I would have used that, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to buy one. I'm going to have to buy a bulb, a number 50 bulb. Now, what's interesting is I believe there's a number 46, 47 bulb. It's a screw-in bulb. Kind of looks like this. Okay. Same thing, but it's not the same. Okay. This is a 6.3 volt bulb that draws 0.25, 250 milliamps. Okay. The bulb that's in there is a 7.5 volt bulb that draws 2 milliamps. So what I'm thinking is they used the 7.5 volt bulb only running on 6.5 volts so that it would last longer because of its location and how to get it in there. I've also been toying around with not using that altogether and just putting an LED in there. All it does, and I can't show you because you'll see it eventually as I'm working on this, up in here, the bulb comes in the back, okay, and it lights this up a little bit just as a reflection, just that you know it's on. Doesn't light up the dial scale. Yeah, dial scale's got to be just right, okay? It's one of the things you have to understand. This mechanical zero is dependent on how you use, if you look, as you change it, it moves around. So if you're going to use it in this position, which is the way it should be, that's how you adjust the mechanical zero in the position that you're going to use it in. All right, well, that's about it for tonight. And I'll get into this and start working on it, start taking it apart and doing what I can do with what parts I have. I do have, like I said, I do have the diode, and I do have the electrolytic that will go in up here. I might take that apart and do that tonight as well. So, all right, so let me get to it. I'm debating whether to pull the board off. Not quite sure, but it's a lot that's got to be done. Okay, so here's where we're at. Let's go back. I'm just going to show you. Yeah, I got a lot of jumpers going on here. Yeah, another easy repair that more wrong than just a cleanup. So let's go back to before I got to this point. Okay, so here we are. Changed the diode. Stupid me, I put the diode in backwards the first time around. Replaced the filter cap and didn't need to buy a bulb because the bulb that was in there was just loose, wasn't blown out or anything. I'm gonna turn this on. I don't know if you can see it, but that is all you see. It's just an indicator that the meter is on. What I did find, now let me get this so that it's not going all over the place. Get the light back on it. Okay. Zoom in a little bit. All right. So the meter zero, I went to zero the meter. You can see I'm just barely touching this, and as I turn it in the same direction, it goes in both directions. All right, so what's going on here? Well, okay. So I gave it a shot of fader lube, deoxit fader lube. Okay, that didn't work. I gave it a couple shots of deoxit D5. That didn't work. So that led me to believe that there was potentially a problem with the control itself. Okay, so how was I going to test this out? All right, well, I'll show you exactly what I did here. Turn this on its side. Yes, the meter goes off like that because you'd have to zero it based on the angle that it's at. I talked about that earlier. Let's see if I can get everything in here. And I'm going to actually shut the meter off, shut the power off. And I'm just going to hook up across the meter. Okay. All right, so let me zoom up. What I've done was I've hooked my DVM up across the meter. Get you focused here. And as I turn this, I'm going to go from one side. This is a 10K pot. All of a sudden, it jumps. You can see it's all over the place. So I figure I got a bad 10K pot in here. All right. Pot's got to be changed. What am I going to do? All right. So, where is this pot in the circuit? It's always good to have a diagram. It is right here. If I get it into, it's right here. So this is a balance pot that goes up to the 12AU7. Okay? That's what balances and zeros the meter. All right. So I get out my box of pots. I don't have a 10K pot. Basically looking for a linear pot as well. Since it's in a balance circuit, I didn't want an audio taper. All I could come up with was a 50K pot. So, okay, so let's test this out. Let's see what we're going to do. All right, here's my pot. Let me get this set here, and then I'll bring you guys around so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me see. I'm going to unsolder the center pin, and I'm going to put the center pin with the white onto there, onto the other pot, and then the two red leads will go to either side of the current pot. So let me get this unsoldered here real quick. Try to stay in camera here. One of these days I have to stop using my cell phone and maybe get a better camera, but hey, until that day comes, this is what I'm using. My Heiko, I love it. I turn it on and it's up in no time at all. Comes up the temperature really quick. I love the Heiko. So let me get down in here. Okay. So I've got this out. This is getting hooked up here. I've got these little grabbers are good, but sometimes they're hard to get on there. And I'll take the other one, put it on this side. And this one goes on here. Okay. I'm actually going to get this set up so you can see it look a little bit better. Yeah, that's right, short it out. That'd be a good thing. I'll zoom back out again. Try to get everything in. Now, I'm going to turn it back on. This control is not going to be working anymore. I'm going to be using this control once it warms up. And you can see the meter is moving. Takes a little bit to warm up. All right. All right, Freddie, what's going on here? This was working before. All right, hold on a second. Maybe that didn't grab the right wire. Okay, the wire wasn't connected properly. Okay, now I have a nice smooth, you can see I'm turning nice and smooth. It's a balance pot. Okay, so I'm not going to go out and buy a 10K pot. I'm just going to use this one. It's a 50K. I can easily balance it. Very smooth. All right. Now that that's done, let's take a look at the DC voltage. Now we have to put this on DC voltage. Yeah, I forgot, I gotta use this one. Okay. We'll get a 9-volt battery. Let's put this on 15 volts. We'll get a 9-volt battery. Come on, clip on there. And a little bit over 9 volts. And that's about right for a 9-volt battery with no load on it. Okay? That's pretty good. What's a 1.5-volt battery look like? Should be about 1.6. Let's get a D battery here. And it's about 1.3. Let's get it down here. We're on the second scale down, the 50 scale. I'm on 5 volts. So that would be 1.3. Pretty much right on compared to the other scale. I'll go to 1.5, and we're at 1.3. Awesome. Might need a tweak of a calibration a little bit, but so far so good. Pot's got to be replaced. That's going to take some time. I'm going to have to disassemble a lot of things on here to get that pot in. We're moving right along. I do have to make up some new cables for the AC and ohms and the common. I don't know if you could see. Let me get up in the camera here. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, that was probably in the way before too. This is like just breaking. So I need a couple new cables here. I think I've got some in my cable box. I'll have to take a look. Trying to keep the original cables with it as much as possible, probes and whatever. And again, we are now able to zero the pot out. Can't use the ohms range yet because I haven't built the 1.5 volt supply. Let me swing this around. Let me get this stuff out of here so I don't short anything out. Yeah, get this out of the way. Get this out. Get this out. Okay. All right. All right, I did take out the battery cup. Again, I'm replacing the battery. And the negative end, well, you can see it's all corroded. I don't know if you can see that, but there's green corrosion on it. We'll get rid of that. Again, this was the selenium rectifier. Yeah, it's different. Usually seeing them with the fins exposed, but this one is potted. Interesting. And here is the capacitor that was in there. It says Magnavox. Magnavox. I'm trying to find a date code. Can't find a date code on this. Not good with date codes. Some guys can pull these things right off. Maybe the 25th week of 55. I don't know. But that's going to be it for tonight. Where I'm at. We're moving right along. Calibration looks like it's going to be good. I don't see any resistors that are out of spec. So far, anyway. And I would say if you're working on these, be very careful with these traces that are in here. I actually lifted it. Oh, shit, that was hard. That was live, guys. Don't do what I do. Shut things off before you stick your fingers in. It was only about 90 volts. Shocking. Grounded myself and touched the hotline. Stupid. But these traces are very weak. They're not very good. So be careful. Don't use a lot of heat on them. Be careful. Don't try to pry things out. Again, I lifted this trace over here and had to use the lead as the trace. So be careful with that, and you'll be good to go. All righty. So moving right along. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop for now. I will, this might be it for tonight. Okay, not sure if you can see this. Look how cruddy this cord is here. And it's, let me focus here a little bit, see if I can focus. I mean, that's just dirt, okay? Look how clean this is over here. All I'm doing is using antibacterial wipes and cleaning the cord off. Originally, I thought I was going to be replacing this cord, but the way it looks, I'm just going to clean it and leave it. Big difference. Look at that. Amazing. The whole cord looked like that spot right there. Now it looks like this. Awesome. I love it. Okay, so here we are. I have this back together. And as you can see, the zero control works very nicely right now. Okay. But there's some problems with this meter. Okay. One, the mechanical zero, the engagement on the mechanical zero is not right. Okay. And I'm going to explain in a minute what I believe is happening here. Okay. But I do have this working. Okay. I'm on the AC mode and I can bring this back and forth full scale to zero it. If I go to DC minus, I can bring it up and it goes pretty high and I can put it right on zero. Okay. If I put it on DC plus, I cannot bring it up to zero it. Okay. That may or may not be a problem, but that's not how it's supposed to work. There's a balance circuit on the 12AU7 tube. And when I told you I didn't have a 10K pot, I used a 50K pot. I believe that's what's causing the problem and not being able to zero it going up. But the problem lies with the mechanical zero. I'm going to try to explain this a little bit. Let me actually shut this off so you can hopefully see what I'm saying here. The meter is zeroed. You see how you move the meter and the dial moves up depending on how you move it, okay? It's not staying zeroed, okay? So there was a great video. I mean, I watched this years ago and I've just referred back to it. And I'm going to show you what this is. The video I watched was the radio mechanic, and he did a video on the RCA 98C senior volt-ohmist meter movement fixed. So here's the issue. I'm going to try to keep all of this in here. You have your needle on your scale. There's a pivot point, okay? And it kind of looks like a cross. Well, there are weights on all of these, okay? And if that scale is not balanced properly, in other words, maybe on my meter, maybe they moved, maybe they fell off, not quite sure, okay? But I cannot get this meter to zero, mechanical zero, with the knob. Yes, I can pop this off, and yes, I can move this and zero it, which means it's working. Okay. The meter was hanging up at a point. Okay, I didn't go into this. I kind of did it off camera. But there's a little screw here. Okay. I put a little dab of acetone in here because it's sealed with an adhesive. And I didn't think of this myself. I learned this from another YouTube video. I loosened this. Once it loosened that glue up, I was able to back off the screw just slightly, and the meter movement is now free, okay? That was the one problem. The other problem is this zero. This little adjustment here should be straight up and down so that you can move it back and forth. But if you look, the meter's way over here, which means it's out of balance. This setup here is out of balance for the meter, and it's allowing the meter to fall, okay? So I'm going to end this video, and before I get into doing the battery replacement, so I don't have to change batteries in it, I'm also going to get a 10K pot, put the proper 10K pot in here. It's going to be a separate video on that. And I'm going to try to record eventually what I'm doing here so that you can see what I'm doing to try to balance this meter. But again, the radio mechanic did an excellent video on how to handle this. In order to do it, I'm going to have to take this apart, take the meter movement out, take the dial scale off, and work on this. And by the time I'm done, I'm probably going to jump off the roof, because it's, from what he showed, it was very tedious balancing. And hopefully my weights are still there. They just have to be adjusted. All right, with that, I'm going to say thanks for watching, and we'll get back to this. One way or the other, guys, I'll let you know what happened. Remember, click like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love comments. I respond to people. So, again, if anybody else has had this problem, you can see I've also done some cleaning on it. It's all cleaned. Knobs are cleaned. The wire's cleaned. So all of that's going to be in this video. Alrighty? Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.